Good afternoon and salam ibu pertiwiku. Some global airlines are rerouting flights to avoid Iran-controlled airspace over the Strait of Hormuz and Gulf of Oman after the U.S. aviation regulator barred its carriers from the area until further notice. Thursday's emergency order from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration came after Iran shot down a high-altitude U.S. drone with a surface-to-air missile, sparking concerns about a threat to the safety of commercial airlines. The downing of the unarmed Global Hawk drone, which can fly up to 18,000 meters, was the latest in a series of incidents in the Gulf region, a critical artery for global oil supplies that included explosive strikes on 6 oil tankers. According to flight tracking applications, the FAA said the nearest civil aircraft was operating within about 45 nautical miles of the unmanned aircraft when it was shot down. The FAA said that its prohibition would stay in place until further notice. Cathay Pacific, Malaysia Airlines, Australia's Qantas Airways, Singapore Airlines, Germany's Lufthansa, British Airways and KLM of the Netherlands said they were rerouting flights to avoid the area. Thousands of protesters who had blockaded police headquarters in Asia's leading financial center had mostly dispersed by Saturday morning, with some roads reopened for traffic as normal, but it remained unclear whether further mass protests would take place. On Friday, groups of mostly students wearing hard hats, goggles and face masks set up roadblocks and trapped vehicles in a generally peaceful protest to demand that leader Carrie Lam, who promoted and then postponed the bill, scrap it altogether. Police removed barricades early on Saturday morning while staff were able to go home after more than a 15-hour blockade. Only a few hundred protesters remain. In a statement early on Saturday, police said the acts of the protesters had seriously affected their work, including the provision of emergency services to the public. The RIA news agency reported that Russia accused the United States on Friday of deliberately stoking dangerous tensions around Iran and pushing the situation to the brink of war. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov called on Washington to weigh the possible consequences of conflict with Iran and said a report in the New York Times showed the situation was extremely dangerous. The report said U.S. President Donald Trump approved military strikes against Iran in retaliation for the downing of a U.S. surveillance drone, but called off the attacks at the last minute. Well, that's all for me. I am Razi Ahmad, and thank you for watching.